Hello, you beautiful bastards, and welcome to my so-called show. Roger Moore had gotten off to a great start with Live and Let Die, but sadly the man with the golden gun failed to set the world alight. And to make things worse, the production of The Spy Who Loved Me was pretty much a shit show. Especially when combined with Harry Saltzman selling his half of the company and Broccoli's personal problems adding to it. Despite the tragedies that threatened the production of the movie as well as the franchise, could Broccoli steer the franchise in the right direction without the help of Saltzman? Well, slutty ladies and not so gentlemen, this is The Spy Who Loved Me.
Nobody does.
Released in 1977, The Spy Who Loved Me sees a submarine captured by a vessel owned by aquatic weirdo Carl Stromberg, played by Kurt Jurgens. Now Bond, played by Roger Moore, and rival KGB spy XXX, played by the lovely Barbara Bach, must put their differences aside and prevent Stromberg from starting a nuclear war. But little does XXX know that Bond was also responsible for killing her lover on a previous mission, and could that threaten their relationship when she finds out? The Spy Who Loved Me might be not just the best of the Roger Moore era, but one of the best Bond movies in general. It's action-packed, ridiculous, funny and memorable as hell. The moment the opening sequence ends with this. You know you're in for something special, and even better, it's followed by Carly Simon's Nobody Does It Better in the title sequence, and while it lacks the booming brass epicness of the other Bond title themes, it manages to be a touching romantic number that stays with you long after the final tender note comes to an end. Roger Moore feels more comfortable in the role than he did last time, and somehow he seems more convincing here in his more ruthless moments.
Where's Peckish? Where's Peckish? Pyramids!
And once again he nails the witty quips.
What a helpful chap.
He is still charming, and he and Barbara Bach have some good chemistry. Even when they start off trying to one-up each other, they're fun to watch. But they do eventually end up growing fond of each other, and when XXX does find out Bond was the one who killed her boyfriend, it's tragic to see these two become enemies again. And Bond doesn't make excuses. He tells her exactly the facts of what's happened. He doesn't sugarcoat it. He stands by his ground and doesn't backtrack. And I'll give credit to Moore, he plays the scene with a brutal sincerity, showing he could convincingly play the part seriously when he needed to.
Business and your people get killed. We both know that. So did he. It was either him or me. The answer to the question is yes. I did get him.
When this mission is over, I will kill you.
There's even a scene that touches on Tracy's death, and more convincingly plays the vulnerability subtly and straight to the point.
Commander James Bond, recruited to the British Secret Service from the Royal Navy, licensed to kill, and has done so on numerous occasions. Many lady friends, but married only once. Wife killed.
All right, you've made your point.
You're sensitive, Mr. Bond.
About certain things, yes.
Bach, while not the best actress, is still very charming and likeable, and shows to be tough when she needs to be, while also showing some vulnerability. And back to the scene when she finds out Bond killed her boyfriend, she is convincingly intimidating. And speaking of intimidating, Richard Kiel steals every scene as the metal-mouthed Jaws. He's scary, deadly, and occasionally very funny as well. You never know how or why he has a metal mouth, or why he does what he does, and quite frankly, I don't care. Let's just hope Amazon doesn't do a fucking prequel on how he came to be. Never talking, but always smiling. He's a guy who loves killing, and is one mean bastard that's hard to kill. But what's a Bond movie without some bonkers action, as well as some bonkers gadgets, with a fun car chase in a Lotus that has the usual weapons to dispatch those villains on their tail? But also has the ability to turn into a fucking underwater shuttle, submarine, something anyway. And it also leads to this very funny moment. The movie doesn't hold back on the travelogue aspect as well, taking full advantage of every stunning location they can, and yet it never feels like too much is being packed in, nor does it make the plot feel choppy. The model work also adds a sense of epicness with Stromberg's underwater layer resurfacing, delivering one of the most epic visuals ever committed to a Bond movie. In fact, the whole second half feels big and grand, with an epic battle between Stromberg's men and Stromberg's prisoners. The stakes feel high, and it does lead to some very intense and suspenseful moments. It does still have its flaws. Stromberg isn't the most interesting villain. He plays the utopian obsession job fan, but when you have a henchman like Jaws, then of course you're gonna remember Jaws more. Triple X's vengeance against Bond doesn't really go anywhere, but then again, he did save it, and it does lead to one of the best final lines in a Bond film.
007, Triple X. Bond, what do you think you're doing?
Keeping the British hand up, sir.
Yeah.
And Caroline Munro could have used more screen time. For obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But my complaints are nothing more than just nitpicks. The Spy Who Loved Me is an unapologetic fun adventure, and with clever writing, witty dialogue.
How does that grab you?
No Bond does it better. And that was The Spy Who Loved Me. Next up, Moonraker.